Are you ready for 70.3 Des Moines bike course? We previously talked about the swim course a little bit, my thoughts on that. Now, this time, we want to talk about a bike course because that's where the rubber meets the road. Pun totally intended. So this is directly from the Ironman website, so I'll read you off because it's probably hard to see over the video to read this exactly. The one loop course, very few turns. It takes athletes from Grays Lake Park through Scenic Waterworks Park, brand new roads in West Des Moines, and the rural beauty of Iowa that will take cyclists through a mix of cornfields and city views. It is truly a field of dreams, rolling hills and flat roads with a highlight will highlight a course that's inviting to all athletes striving for personal best. The athletes will return to Grays Lake Park, the conclusion of the bike course. So it's one loop. So your transition starts here. So you come out and you do your little loop, which few turns, it looks like quite a couple of turns in here, and a little U-turn here, and you come back. So there's opportunities, kind of a couple straightaways, but if you look at the bike profile, which I copied from below and pulled it up so you can see it, there's a few, if you look at the mile markers, there's a few opportunities that there's a little bit, some rollers and stuff like that. And, maybe you're changing, there's 100 feet in this first little climb. So it's not drastic, it's not killer. Maybe it's over like half a mile to a mile, but, for the most part, I've been to the Des Moines area. I used to have family that lived there, been there, and it's not killer. It's usually pretty flat, a few little hills and stuff. So it's not killer. So there's a few little spikes and kind of a little bit of rollers here when you're coming through. So don't be totally fooled. It's not completely flat. They list 1,841 feet of elevation gain on the bike. So there is opportunities. You're going to have a little bit of opportunities to go out and challenge yourself on kind of a few hills or whatever, but there's going to be plenty of opportunities, like I said, to kind of, I think for the most part, you should be able to stay on an arrow. There might be a few little climbs and a few spots. You maybe jump out of the arrow, get on the bars or whatever. But some of the chatter that I've heard from Facebook groups, some of these roads aren't even built yet. So they say new roads. So they will be new by the time we get out there and do the race, hopefully. Or this could be a little quick switch of the bike course. But anyway, so for the most part, once you get out there, Des Moines, it is pretty rural. Personally, I'm from Kansas City here, and it's pretty similar to our area. Once you get out of the main area of town, it's pretty rural. It's pretty rolling. Hopefully not that much traffic going on and stuff like that. So I think there's an opportunity to stay in the air for the most part. So if you are in the triathlon specific bike group, time trial bikes, this should be a great opportunity for you to get in the arrow and find a good spot as far as your sweet spot of power goes. Your 75% of your FTP for your bike. There will be opportunities, like I said, you're going to feel a little bit of a spike, a little bit of decline, but I think for the most part, it's not going to be a super challenging course. If it is your first half Ironman, typically those are usually pretty challenging when you're out there doing it for the first time. But for the most part, as far as Ironman races go, it's not going to be pancake flat like Indian Wells, where there's like 100 feet of gain over 56 miles. It's not going to be like the defunct Ironman Kansas, where we had 3,500 feet of climbing over 56 miles. So it's a good kind of middle spot, like something to kind of keep you awake. So you're not just sitting there having to grind it out the whole time. But I think there will be a few little challenges where you'll have this opportunity to jump out of there and get on the bars and break up the hill. But I wouldn't get too excited about looking at different cassettes or gearing. I run 11.25, riding around here in Kansas City, and the terrain probably pretty similar, maybe a little bit more hilly. I wouldn't change my cassette personally for this race. I would keep what I have. So I would not go with like 1138 or something like that, worried about the climbing on this course at all. Typically, if you're going to experience about 3,500, 4,000 feet of elevation gain over a half Ironman, that's the time you start looking at different cassettes and cranks and all that kind of other stuff. But for the most part, I mean, it looks pretty cut and dry. Transition 1 and 2, same spot. So you come out and you ride through town. As always, be aware. I think there will be some traffic, especially when you kind of get out in the rural areas, the farm traffic and stuff like that. You may have a kind of a run-in, with the farmers and people driving to church on Sunday mornings. So always be aware of that. But overall, I don't see too much that stands out in front of me, and especially Des Moines in June and Iowa, you're not going to get probably extremely hot. I would be very surprised if you get above the 70s for race day, unless it's just some atypical spring day. Humidity is usually pretty low when you get up north into Iowa for the most part. So I think this should be, let's plan on a perfect race day. No clouds, no rain, no nothing, sunshine. It might be a little bit breezy, especially when we get out here. If there's less coverage, if it's just kind of open fields without trees and stuff, you may get a little bit of a crosswind, headwind, tailwind, whatever. So be ready for that. But once you get into the city, it shouldn't be as much of a problem. Other than that, I don't see many issues. Let's move this little guy and see where so you got your transition area, you got your start line, finish line, mile markers, and you got your aid stations. So you got, let's see here, if I can see my screen, 1, 2, and then you pass them again here. And it looks like 2 aid stations. You got another little U-turn in here. So be ready with your hydration and nutrition. And it looks like you have a couple opportunities, but once you pass this aid station here on the turnaround out and back, once you pass that, I don't see, there's one in here in this little park area, so you might have an opportunity to kind of load up here before you come back and transition. So there's some opportunities to get some aid stations, get some hydration, get some nutrition, that type of thing. So other than that, nothing stands out as a really thumper of a course. There's not going to be tons of climbing. I think there's going to be a good opportunity to kind of stay in the aero position and hit your power numbers and kind of stay on top of that, or heart rate or perceived effort, whatever you're going by. I don't think it's going to be a huge challenge in that regard. If this is going to be your first Ironman, or maybe your half Ironman or second or something like that, it's always going to be a challenge. You do the distance, that type of thing. But as far as the difficulty level of the course, I can tell you, isn't a really detrimental factor to me. That's personally why I look at this race and signed up for it. Not to mention it's like a 3-hour drive away for me, but it looks to be an actual kind of a fun bike course. I'm kind of looking forward to getting out there and riding it and getting after it. I think personally, an experienced triathlete might look to be a little bit aggressive on this course, especially if the weather holds up and it's a typical spring Iowa day. You should have an opportunity to kind of really go out there and test yourself in this bike course. So I'm kind of looking forward to it. But overall, just looking at the course map, the elevation profile, it doesn't look like anything too crazy. They say a few turns, so I'm going to assume that some of these you could probably stay in arrow. It's a nice curved turn. Hopefully there's not too many. This little 90, you might have to get out of arrow. There's 2 U-turns, so you got to be aware of that. There's going to be opportunities to jump out of arrow and get on your bars to make a turn or something like that. But overall, it doesn't look too technical or too crazy. So should be a good day out there on the bike course. And then next time we'll go over the run course, kind of my thoughts on that. So stay tuned for that. And always, if you have any questions, just let me know.